Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome to another show podcast. We run the North. I'm Kevin Tate, guest contributor to BTSC Behind the Steel Curtain Network. I have my guest host with me, Brandon B Dirt, the Super Bengals fan, and what we're going to talk about today is the teams in the AFC North and their draft picks and their overall draft grades as graded by NFL.com. We're going to get into most of the picks, not all the picks. We don't know about all of the guys on all the teams that were drafted, but we're going to try and just give you an overview and a perspective of the players that were drafted. So thanks for joining us. B Dirt, what's good, man?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I was glued to that draft as much as possible. I really thought, I try not to root against people. So I wanted everybody to do well, but I think our division did extremely well in this draft process. So I'm excited to go over it with you.
You know, man, our division is going to be really tough. I mean, with this new draft class coming into all the teams, I mean, I feel like the AFC West, who we talked about the other week, is a tougher division.
Yeah.
I don't know that they brought in as much talent via the draft, just because teams like Denver gave away draft picks to get Russell Wilson.
Oakland as well.
Oakland also to get Devontae Adams. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have a totally new influx of talent in a lot of places. And I mean, I still think they're probably the better division right now, but I think we probably even got to upgrade with our bottom tier quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, in our division with bringing Kenny Pickett in. I mean, I don't know how that'll shake out yet, but I think the talent at quarterback from top to bottom in our division went up a little bit.
I agree completely. I really think that you're going to see this division as it's getting a little murky as to who's got the better roster. It's really you can point to something on all four teams and figure out that everybody's got their strength.
You see that comment? That's from the homie Britsburg Owen, man.
It is what it is, man. I live in Pittsburgh, so he's not going to say anything I have already heard. You know what I mean? So, no, it's all good. It's all love. If we all root for the same team, sports would be pointless.
Right.
But yeah, I really think that it's going to be, a lot. I think over the next 3 years is who stays healthier. You're going to see that. That's going to play a big part in our division.
Health will always play a big part of it. But yeah, so. All right, man. Well, we can kind of start to get into it a little bit here, man. We're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, because of all the picks they traded Deshaun Watson, they didn't have their first pick to pick 44. They traded pick 44 and dropped back. I'm not sure exactly what all they cooped in that trade, in that drop back, but their first pick was number 68 overall. Who did Cleveland pick first, B Dirt, 68 overall?
They took Martin Emerson, the cornerback out of Mississippi State. I think maybe a little bit of a reach for me in that, but definitely something they needed to address. And I think he's got a little bit of more physical style than what they've got on the other side of the ball. So I don't mind the pick. And it's definitely something they needed to address. I don't know. I think they turned around right after the draft then and sent Troy Hill over to
back to the Rams.
Back to the Rams.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of, like, if they got one of their couple guys, I'm assuming that they had already planned on doing that. What did they get, like a fifth for next year out of that, I believe? Nothing's real sustainable, but I think they already had that kind of, maybe he didn't fit in a locker room piece. I'm not sure what that was, but they needed to address that, because of that, really.
Well, yeah, Hill was one of their big free agent acquisitions last year to play back there at that safety. No, he was the nickel corner.
Yeah,
he was a nickel corner. Well, they pick up Martin Emerson. I liked Martin Emerson potentially for Pittsburgh before the draft as as a second, third round cornerback to bring in. I like his size. The Browns just signed Denzel Ward to a big contract. He's a number one corner. They drafted Greg Newsome last year in the first round out of Northwestern. He's a pretty physical corner, and they still have Greedy Williams. I think I've heard Greedy Williams is on the trade market.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I mean, because with this potential pick, and I don't Greedy's been there. This will be like his third year, maybe fourth, and he hasn't really worked out. He's always injured. He's not. I don't think he fits that physical style the Browns would have. I mean, Denzel Ward is their shut down, just cover corner.
Yeah, and I think the way they play the rest of it, I think they wanted to get somebody, like this kid here from Mississippi State. It's a little more physical, come up in the box and hit you too.
Right. Okay. With the second pick, they had the Browns 78 overall. They took defensive edge Alex Wright from University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Well, they really needed some more depth on the defensive line, period. Especially, I think Clowney's going to be gone, right? I mean, I haven't seen him sign.
Clowney is still a free agent, right?
I haven't seen him sign, but I don't hear any rumblings that he's going to be going back. That doesn't seem to be the case. And I think both on, they later got a defensive tackle and this end just to add some athleticism and depth on that position, because they're no longer in a division or in the way football's played right now. Very few guys are out there motoring for 9 straight plays or 12 straight plays. They're shuttling in and out. So, even if this guy doesn't maybe start right off the rip, he's still going to be a major contributor in my opinion.
I would agree, B. Dirt. Okay, so yeah, add some depth and some youth to the D line for Cleveland, just in case Clowney doesn't come back. I don't think Tack McKinley is coming back either. So yeah, they did need some help on that D line.
I forgot about McKinley.
Yeah. Pick number 99 overall, wide receiver from Purdue, David Bell.
Probably my favorite pick that they made. I really think with what they're doing, with wide receiver, with a new quarterback, I think he's going to fit that position in the slot. And you and I, both being Big Ten fans, have seen what this kid does. His upside is enormous. I'm really kind of intrigued to see what he'll do with somebody that can really spin it, throwing him the ball. I think he's got some pretty special traits. Quickness. He's at step 2. He's at full speed.
He's quick, not fast. That's why he fell down to pick number 99. His combine. He ran a 4.77. I mean, he was a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award in college football. He was first team All Big Ten. I think he made one of the All-American teams too, second or third team. I mean, so he's definitely a talented receiver. He catches with his hands. He catches, combat catches. He's really good at that. The only knock on him was his 40 time grade. That's kind of what brought him down.
So who do you think's a comp for him? Do you think he's like an Edelman type position, quick in and out of breaks, runs a really good route tree, or like who do you see him being?
That's a good question, man. I hadn't really thought about that. Have to be somebody who's not maybe because maybe potentially like a Jarvis Landry.
Okay.
I mean, he can be kind of physical. He's good in the slot. He catches the ball. Before Jarvis went to Cleveland, was playing with Baker Mayfield. He was getting like 110 plus balls a year down in Miami. Mm-hmm. He was making Pro Bowls and stuff. A couple years in Miami. So, and he's not the fastest guy, but he's a good route runner, and he's tough, and he catches the ball. So, just off the
very competitive.
Very competitive. You asked me really quick, so that's where I'm at with him. This kid David Bell's from Indianapolis, so pick number 108. Like you said already, the Browns bringing in more defensive line help. They got Perion Winfrey, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
Yeah,
he's really good. I saw some potential mock drafts obviously before the draft where he was projected to go in the second round, high third round.
Yeah, people eater. Definitely physical in the interior. I didn't get to see him play a lot. I don't follow Oklahoma a ton, but he had some pretty good tape.
Right. No, I agree. Then the Browns would pick 124, took a kicker from LSU, Cade York. I don't know anything about Cade York.
So most clutch kicker out there. He hit that 57-yarder in that Fog Bowl to beat Florida. He's got a big leg, very accurate. I mean, it's a little bit early for me to go get kickers, but this is probably a guy that is going to be with their team for 10 years, my guess.
You're probably right. And we'll just fly through these last few picks.
And they had the worst kicker in the league last year. So there's that.
Who was their kicker last year?
I can't even remember. I just remember they had all kinds of problems.
Okay. These last few picks, I'm just going to name them out, then we'll just comment on real quick, whoever you want to comment on. Pick 156 overall, running back Jerome Ford out of Cincinnati.
Oh, I really like him. I
like Ford too. I just know how much time we're gonna put talking about picks 156 for the Cleveland Browns. But no, I like him. He was their number one running back and really good with what's Alec, the wide receiver, and obviously Desmond Ridder.
But he was a big recruit as a kid from that was originally went to Alabama. I mean, he had a little bit of a pedigree.
Okay, well, the Browns got another solid running back to add to that room with Chubb, Hunt, and remember the dude Dearness Johnson. He had a good season last year too, filling in for both those guys when they were hurt. Wide receiver pick 202 out of Oklahoma, Mike Woods. Boy, it's a theme here. 1, 2, 3. The Browns have 3 Oklahoma players they drafted. Mike Woods, receiver out of Oklahoma. Isaiah Thomas, edge, pick 223 out of Oklahoma, and Dawson Deaton, pick number 246, center out of Texas Tech. So we commented on James Ford. I don't know much about any of the other dudes.
I think if one of those 3 work out, they'll be happy. Yeah,
they were nowhere. And the Browns have incentive to try and make some of these picks work out just because they gave up so much high-end draft value to bring Watson in that they need to hit on some of these later round picks.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the fact that when Watson's new contract kicks in, they're paying him $40 million a year, and they just, like I said, just signed Denzel Ward. They have Myles Garrett under a big contract, so they don't start finding some hits in some of these later round picks in these drafts. And I say later round picks because I don't believe they have a first again until 2025. Because I believe Houston, they got 3 firsts, right? They got
3 firsts,
2022, 2023, 2024.
24.
Yeah, so that's what Cleveland. I mean, like I said, I like Martin Emerson. I mean, nothing that really jumps off. The NFL.com gave them an overall grade of a B. Day 1 grade, they gave them a C. Day 2 and 3, they gave them A's on both days. So actually on day 3, they gave them an A+. So maybe they know a lot more about these late end picks and what they can potentially bring more than I do. But yeah, so they got an overall B. I think that's probably about right. I think if I'm ranking the division by grade wise, I would say Cleveland probably was in 4th place. Still a good draft.
Yeah.
But just the other teams probably had a better draft because they had more draft capital to work with.
In all honesty, if you start figuring in, and I hate saying this is hurting my soul right now, but if you figure in Deshaun Watson, I don't know, maybe I put them at 3rd, and I might push us to the 4th. But it's that close, I think. I mean, I think all 4 of these teams, as you'll see in my comments, I think all 4 of them really hit home runs. So
right. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next team in the North. Let's go to the talk about the Baltimore Ravens draft.
Yeah, speak of a home run.
Speak of a home run.
I think this was a bomb, no doubter. Watch it go out of the park. I wouldn't be surprised. I think minimum you see 3 of these guys make the Pro Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if you see 5 of their draft picks out of this make a Pro Bowl at some point in time.
I don't disagree with you, man. And I don't know where they acquired all that capital from in like the second and third round. I mean, they like between pick number that's pick 76, pick 110, pick 119, pick 128, 130, and 139. So between 76 and 139, they had 6 picks. And that was after they took Kyle Hamilton, Linderbaum, and David Ojabo. So I mean, yeah, they definitely hit a home run, man. Let's just real quick talk about some of the guys. So pick number 14 in the first round, they took safety Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. Thoughts on him?
Again, he was one of those guys that I think, probably a top 5, definitely a top 10 pick if he runs a tenth of a second or a little bit more than that faster in his 40 time.
Yeah, I agree.
But when you watch him on tape, he's there. He's in the right place in the ball. He makes the break fast enough. It's one of those things. Is it paralysis by analysis because you keep looking at all these numbers? He's still quick. He still makes the right read and the jump on the ball. He plays the ball well. Will come up and hit people. I like the pick. I think he fits into the Ravens' style too, and the style of the North.
I agree, man. I mean, he's big, 6'4", 225, physical corner. I don't care what his 40 times said. He can run. He can get sideline to sideline, hash to hash. He'll come down in the box and lay the wood. I mean, he'll match up good with mostly all tight ends that the Ravens will have to play against. So I really like that pick, man. And then the Ravens traded back up into the first, pick number 25, I believe with Buffalo at the time.
I believe it was.
Yeah, and they went to number 25 and drafted center out of Iowa, Tyler Lindenbaum. I like that pick too.
Yeah, I was a fan of his. I was rooting for the Bengals to actually pick him up in the first round. But this is a guy that I think is going to be a pro for 10 years. I think he's going to have a great career. You can talk about him being slightly undersized, walking around right about that 300-pound mark, but he makes up with it with just being nasty.
Right.
He likes to get out there on the edge and finish the block. And I think that's going to work really well with their kind of spread RPO offense. He doesn't have to sit there and maul people. He has to get in their way and get outside. So I think I think that was another great pick for them.
I agree. I mean, I think he'll be an anchor of that offensive line for the next 10 years. And then something I would have if it could have been possible, like to see potentially had seen the Steelers do. And the Ravens moved up again, I believe, to pick number 45 and picked up edge rusher from Michigan, your boy, David Ojabo.
Yeah, I think Ojabo has a huge upside. 10, 15 years ago, tearing your Achilles was almost a death sentence for an athlete, but that's come a long way. And with him being so young, I think he'll get right back to form. And his form was he didn't take a snap in football until 2017. So his form's not even realized. And then you realize that the defensive coordinator for Michigan is now the defensive coordinator for the Ravens.
That's
so
true.
He knows what he's getting.
That's true. I forgot about that, but you're exactly right.
Yeah, I think that could be a huge upside. He basically, Jim Harbaugh borrowed him from his brother for a year to get their defense straight, train somebody else, and then send him back. It's a great
right. Move. That really worked out. and I like Ajabo. So pick number 76, another guy the Steelers were looking at, defensive line, defensive tackle, Travis Jones out of UConn.
Yeah, did you hear Mel Kiper's take on this guy? He had to say it 10 times. He said if this guy played for Ohio State, he'd been a first-round draft pick. He kept saying it over and over again.
I definitely heard those takes. I was looking at them. I mean, I know when we talk about where the Steelers went in the second round, when we didn't get him in the second round, I knew he wouldn't be there in the third when we picked. But I really think he has a whole lot of upside. If he played at a big brand school, he would be had been a first round pick. Yeah. So that's 4 great picks in a row by Baltimore. Then we come back, pick number 110 overall. They address offensive line. They just lost our old guy. Who's our tackle? Pittsburgh. Villanueva. Yeah. See, they leave Pittsburgh, man. I forget about them. But no, so they go to Minnesota, another Big Ten school, and get Mount Minnesota is the guy's nickname, Daniel Falali.
Giant, and 385-pound mauler.
Yes. Yep. And Baltimore, like all these picks, speak to Baltimore, man. Like big line, trenches, tough. You know what I mean?
And even one of the guys earlier here mentioned that they had 6 picks and didn't address wide receiver after losing Brown. And you and I talked about this a little bit offline a week ago or whatever. I said I don't think that bothers them because they're going to make their hay in between those hashes. Hollywood Brown runs a great outside route tree. That's not the strength of Jackson as a quarterback. I think he's more of a quick out or more of that slant or seam route over the middle.
I agree.
And so I think they're like, hey, we're just going to lean into what we do well. Let's go after it. And I can't fault them for that. I don't think they should have put a bunch of draft capital into somebody that's going to run great, outside route tree because he's probably not going to get the ball enough.
I agree, and we'll come to one of the potential weapons they picked up here just after we talk about this next pick, number 119, Jalen Armour Davis, cornerback out of Alabama. I know it's measurable. I believe he's like 6 foot, 200 pounds. He played at Alabama, so you understand the pedigree. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what the production and numbers said, but hey, if you're Alabama, you're probably a 4 or 5 star recruit.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I don't see him getting anything but right.
Yeah,
unless you're related to somebody on staff, maybe. And you know what? I even like the Ravens. They're kind of out the door here with Tyler Beatty from Mizzou. I think that kid's going to be great for him.
And it just adds to the stable. I mean, they have J.K. Dobbins coming back.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other running back's name that got hurt?
Not one of the 7 they brought in.
Gus somebody. I can't remember his last name. Not Gus Johnson. Anyway,
I would say Gus Macker. That's not right.
But that guy, yeah. So Tyler Beatty was picked number 196. But the other weapon I want to talk about, they picked up tight end at 128 out of Iowa State, Charlie Kohler. Dude was a beast, man.
He is. So I don't think he's going to get as deep as Mark Andrews.
No, I mean Mark Andrews is definitely still their number 1, but
he'll be the stretch the seam.
Yeah, if you want to go 2 tight end set, this guy is a nice second option at tight end that can catch the ball, that makes plays, and that's what I'm talking about. I don't expect him to surpass Mark Andrews, but he's definitely a good option to have. And so you lose that receiver.
There we go, Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, that's his name, yeah.
Darwin Nolan, shout out on Gus Edwards. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Darwin. Appreciate you, man. Gus Edwards, that's exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, so you lose Hollywood Brown in the trade. In the trade is when that's who they traded with to get Lindenbaum. Now that I remember, they traded Hollywood Brown. But Charlie Kohler is that weapon that fits with that offensive scheme and what they want to do more than having that, small jitterbug receiver like Hollywood Brown. Good receiver, but Charlie Kohler works better in the offense. I think Bateman, who they drafted first round last year, will be more their number one receiver. He'll get a lot more targets. He'll be the receiver that gets the majority of the passes, and a lot of everything else will go to Andrews and Kohler, over the middle, and passes to running backs and stuff like that.
And they're the one team zigging instead of zagging. I mean, they're going to run the ball.
That's what they do. Well, I feel like that's what the North does. I mean, you talk about Joe Mixon for the Bengals and Chubb and Hunt and Najee Harris. I mean, that's that division, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it might that may pay dividends coming towards the playoffs. We talk about how tough the AFC West is, but they're more of a passing division. Their quarterbacks are, the AFC North has our quarterbacks are capable of passing, but we're predicated on the run game, defense, physicality. Those teams out there, good teams, good defenses, but they like to air it out in that nice weather and those domes and all that stuff. You're talking about, the Chargers and the Raiders and those guys. So real quick, so we can move on from Baltimore. Punter, Penn State, Jordan Stout, Coastal Carolina tied another tight end, Isaiah Likely, don't know much about him. Cornerback Damarian Williams, number 141 out of Houston Cougars. And then we already talked about running back Tyler Beatty. So Baltimore actually got an A grade in this draft. And I don't know that I disagree. I think they probably ranking the 4 in the division. I probably give Baltimore the number 1 spot if we're ranking the 4 teams in the North.
I unfortunately do as well.
Okay.
I would put them number 1, and I think 2 or 3 years from now, I think we'll look back and say that they have the number 1 draft in this draft, possibly. I think the Jets and the Eagles,
not just the North, everybody,
just everybody,
right?
I think the Jets and the Eagles are right up there with them. You have to see how some of that stuff shakes out.
I don't disagree, man. Now we're going to jump to the defending AFC North champs and AFC Conference champions. Your Cincinnati Bengals beat Dirt, man. Tell us about what you guys did, man.
Well, like I've said before on this show, we were in a situation because of what we did in free agency to actually address a secondary need and some other ancillary pieces around, rather than have to make sure that we don't get Joe Burrow killed. So I was pretty happy with where we went into this at, and I think it gave us some flexibility to be able to pick up a Daxton Hill who slid to us, who I think was a great pickup. Me being a Michigan guy, obviously that was a kind of a win-win for me as well. I do think that he's going to have to work on some of his strength because with his length and his size, he's going to be a really good matchup for taller receiver, smaller tight ends. He's got flexibility to play that cover safety, to move around. And with both of our safeties on the last year of their deal, I thought this was a great pickup. Gives us a lot of flexibility out there in our defensive backfield.
Okay. Now I like the Daxton Hill pick also. I mean, I think we were potentially, if we didn't go quarterback, he was on the board. He could have been a guy Pittsburgh would have considered. We may have considered trading back just a little bit and still tried to get the guy. I mean, you guys got him at 31. If we needed to or had to trade it back, I think he could have been somebody on the radar, because when we picked at 20, everybody outside the quarterback we wanted was mostly gone, position wise, But I like Daxton Hill a lot. You brought to my attention, and I saw it. I just forgot about it. About our second round draft pick, George Pickens, kind of pancake Daxton Hill. I
can't get it out of my mind, man. It's one of those things like he came off that line in that Final Four game, and just blasted Hill, knocked him out 8 yards off the ball. Now, at the time, it was embarrassing to me. We were getting crushed. We were getting manhandled. And then that happened, and I was very upset about it. And then all of a sudden, we picked up Dax Hill, and then you guys picked up Pickens. And I was like, that's what the rivalry's all about. Like, let them go out there and let's go after it again.
We'll get somebody else. Pickens, hopefully Pickens can do to some of you guys defensive players like Juju did to your linebacker is always in trouble. What's his name?
Perfect. Listen.
Perfect.
Perfect. Like, I don't like it to get to that point that he was. I mean, he was just a dirty player. But I like being in the rivalry and talking a little smack, getting each other, hitting hard. That's what the North does,
That's what the North does. Tell me a little bit about Cam Taylor-Britt, cornerback out of Nebraska. I know he's a big physical corner.
Yes, big physical corner, a lot of athletic tools. Again, one of those guys that I think is going to be up in your face. He's going to want to come down in the box. Does a good job playing zone and man. So, again, flexibility, can move some guys around. And, I think we're seeing our league out some guys that can spin the ball. So, I'm glad to see that we got some defensive backs. I think that he'll actually come in and maybe not right off rip, but maybe. But I think he's going to push Eli Apple for that final starting position, which would be music to my ears because he didn't do too great for us last year.
Right. Okay. So you think Eli Apple's the odd man out?
I think that he re-signed on a 1-year contract, and I think that's it. I think he'd have to. I think he's auditioning for others this year. It would be my guess. Things could change, obviously, but that's my guess right now. And the other thing I like, I think Cam Taylor-Britt could be a really good contributor on special teams as well, if need be. And our special teams weren't great last year. I think you guys had really good special teams last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we usually do. I believe Ray was really good at returning kicks, and we had a couple field goal blocks and stuff. We did have a good special team. Zachary Taylor out of Florida, pick 95, defensive tackle.
I think there's a big upside there, and we definitely need the depth. I don't think I was glad we re-signed Hill, but he can't play every down, so I think he'll be a sub-in kind of guy. I don't think he'll start off rip, but he'll be able to develop under.
Hey, you guys lost one of your defensive tackles, right?
We did. I can't remember the guy's name, to be honest with you right now.
Yeah. Okay. Cordell.
Because I was more concerned with Hill signing, so that's the reason why. Cordell Volson, again, here's kind of the theme to our draft is
offensive line. He obviously probably was blocking for Trey Lance when he was there.
But flexibility. The kid played left guard, right tackle, left tackle. The only reason why I didn't play center is because his brother played center, and he's a little too tall. But I think this is a guy that, again, I don't see him starting maybe his first year or two in the league. But, man, what a depth piece there.
Right.
Anybody goes down, you can plug and play him. And he's a mauler, a people mover, and from everybody's account, he's smart. So I like that.
Okay, and then pick number 166, Tyson Anderson, safety from University of Toledo.
Again, very athletic, very physical.
What I'm noticing with Daxton Hill with this selection, and I know you guys franchise Jesse Bates. I think you guys are setting up trying to let Jesse Bates go after this franchise tag year, just because of the finances and stuff. Because eventually, Burrow's going to get paid. Jamar Chase is going to get paid. I mean, those are big contracts for those positions. So I don't know if you want to have all that top end money invested in your safety. So you draft Hill, a day one starter back there with Bates probably.
Yeah.
And then you got this other guy to develop, Anderson. And then next year you maybe Bates is not brought
Well,
back.
we still have Bell too.
Oh yeah, Von Bell, Ohio State guy.
Von
My
Bell.
guy, Ohio State guy.
So, but Von Bell's on his last year. Bates is on that tag, on the franchise tag, and Bates was not happy about getting the franchise tag. He was pretty vocal about that. So I think that was kind of the writing on the wall. His reaction to that was like, "Oh, okay, well, here, play us out." You know what I mean? So I think that's playing out the music. And I also think, we were in a situation where, with needing extra help on special teams and some of these things, I think getting some of these athletic guys that might be I think Anderson's probably a project. I think he needs a few years to maybe 2-3 years in the system to take that next step.
Right.
But I think he can step on the field and really contribute special teams right away. So I think that's a win for us.
Okay, last pick for you guys. Number pick 252 in the 7th, Jeffrey Gunter.
Gunter.
Gunter. Okay, Gunter.
Gunter. Coastal Carolina kid got a good motor, man. I think he fits into the kind of things we like to do. He was probably I was surprised he was still there. I actually watched him play a couple games because of watching ESPN late at night during football season. And I like the kid, but we'll have to see. I mean, the measurables are one of those things where didn't jump off the charts at you, but when you watch him, you're like, hey, that kid goes. So I think he could be a nice surprise.
Good drafts. Only six picks. NFL.com graded you guys an A-. So, and if it's me and we're again ranking, so Cleveland 4, Baltimore 1. I would put the Bengals at 3. I just think the Steelers. We'll talk about their still draft for a couple of the last few minutes coming up. I just think the Steelers had just a little better draft than the Bengals, and we all had great drafts, but if we're ranking, like I said, I got the Bengals at 3.
We actually moved up to take Cam Taylor-Britt, so we traded our 63rd pick and our 6th rounder, 209, to go up to 60 to get him because the rumors on the street was that Kansas City wanted to take him right in front of us.
Got you. That makes sense then. That makes sense. That's where the other pick went. But yeah, man. So now we'll go ahead and talk about the Steelers. Our Pittsburgh Steelers, since we run in North on Behind the Steel Curtain Network. So I'm gonna say our Pittsburgh Steelers to us and all our viewers out there. So overall, what do you think about our draft? Real quick, just overall.
I thought it was great because I won a $100 bet that Pickens would fall to you guys at 20. So I was ecstatic the way it started.
Pickett. We do have a Pickens.
Kenny Pickett. What did I say?
Right. Pickett.
Did I say Pickett? Oh, my
Pickens.
Bad. Well, he was the next one. Pickens. I think you got the best quarterback in the draft. I think you got a second round wide receiver that's a first round talent, top 20 pick if he doesn't get hurt. I think Calvin Austin. You got a speedster there. Added D-line depth. Somebody that's going to learn from one of the best. I did. One of the picks that I heard a lot of people squawking or Steelers friends of mine, my friends of mine, is that Connor Haywood pick. But everybody they had him on every draft as a fullback, and everybody was flipping out about fullback. Well, I think they're going to move him to tight end and give you depth at tight end.
Well, the tight end coach Alfredo Roberts came out and talked about him as he's going to be in the tight end room, but he has fullback potential, great special teams potential, H-back. I mean, he can be a really good just utility player.
Yeah. Two tight end, like you run some, you're gonna be running some RPO stuff. Like he could take the ball on a cross handoff out of a tight end position. There's a lot of stuff you can do with him.
A lot of stuff you can do with him.
So I don't mind it at all.
I'm gonna tell you what I think real quick. We got about little under 10 minutes. Kenny Pickett, it's grown on me, right? And we talked about all these on the round. We had a roundtable discussion after every round's picks about when the Steelers pick came up. We got on here and different groups of us on the BTSC contributors and hosts talked about these different picks. I talked about round 4. I was talking about Calvin Austin. But Pickett, it's grown on me. When we got to 20 and no quarterbacks was taken, I was thinking Malik Willis. Just not because of what he would mean now, just because of the potential upside that we've been led to believe he would bring. And I still think he will. I think he's in a good place in Tennessee. But the Pittsburgh Steelers went with Kenny Pickett, and I'm not mad at that. I mean, I trust Kevin Colbert. I trust Mike Tomlin. He's definitely the most pro ready to play day one. Had a great season. I think he's a leader. He has some of that it factor, I think, man. Some of that Joe Burrow swag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like Kenny Pickett for all those reasons.
Now, a quick question about Willis, because this just dawned on me right now. Who did you compare him to?
My comp for him all along was at his best was Steve McNair.
Isn't that funny? He went to Tennessee.
Yeah, that's yeah.
A little ironic, huh?
A little ironic, yeah. But that was my comp from the beginning with that guy, man. But like I said, I trust the brain trust, Colbert, Tomlin, Mr. Rooney, all those guys. So hey, Kenny Pickett's the guy. I'm all behind it. Coach T said he can come in and compete. I think if we're honest with ourselves, I think Mason probably is trade bait when camp comes. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody wants a solid number 2. Because I think the job is coming down between Trubisky and Mitch. And then we in the 7th round, just jumped to Chris Odulakun. He drafted out of South Dakota State, played at USF, Tampa kid. Actually, what's my wife's from Tampa. Heard about him back then. He knows Deontay Johnson, who's from that area too. And they drafted him in the 7th round. Come in and be a camp arm, but I think ultimately my thought is he's going to be groomed to be the number 2 behind Kenny Pickett in the next 2 to 3 years. So we'll have Kenny Pickett and we'll groom this kid to be the backup. They'll grow together, and that'll be our quarterback combination for the next 10 years. So that's what I think about Kenny Pickett and the last number 7 round pick, Chris Odulakun. So 2nd round, like you said, we got George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. Hey, dude was a monster, man, his freshman year. I had him comp to back then AJ Green because he went to Georgia. Yeah. They both were linear, tall, long receivers. He looked a lot like AJ Green did when he was at Georgia in that Georgia uniform.
Yeah, he's got a little more of a mean streak to him, though.
Which is fine. Yeah, you know a lot about AJ Green. He was your guy for like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Pickens, great pick, 1st round talent, like B Dirt said. Only fell to the 2nd because he was injured, and we got him at 52. And again, I wasn't because Pittsburgh had their choice of quarterbacks, and I felt like we had our choice of 2nd round receivers too because there was a lot of hype about Sky Moore, and we could have took Sky Moore. And I was thinking Sky Moore, George Pickens. We went with George Pickens. I'm okay with that again because I trust the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I trust the leadership. So if they wanted Pickens and he brings blocking to the wide receiver room, and we picked up Miles Boykin, who will be a good blocker. Pickens is a good blocker. Chase Claypool is big and physical. He should be able to be a good blocker. Go open up this run game, hopefully, with the new offensive line pieces and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. 3rd round, DeMarvin Leal, like him a lot. Has all the intangibles and the size and the speed and played in the SEC. If the draft had been earlier before he fell, he was projected to be a 1st round pick in a lot of publications and stuff like that. He failed to pick 84. So I feel like He get coached
value.
up, great value. Get coached up by Coach Dunbar, our defensive line coach. Get to learn from Cam and some of the other guys in the D line room. I think he'll be really good moving, in the future. Calvin Austin. Here's what I think about Calvin Austin. 5'8", 170, 4.3 speed, burner. And this is a high end comp, but Tyreek Hill was picked by Kansas City in the 5th round, pick number 165, and you see what he turned into. This kid picked in the 4th round, pick number 138. I mean, the measurables are kind of similar. Tyreek Hill ran a 4.29. This kid ran a 4.32. But he's a track guy from University of Memphis. He walked on the football team because he was a track guy. And he parlayed this until getting drafted to the NFL. So I really like what he'll bring to that dynamic.
Track coach. His track coach pushed him into it. Like, talk to the coach and stuff.
I heard that too. Yeah, you're right. I like the potential he has.
Man, a problem. You start looking at how good you were in a return game already, and then you got this guy you can add. Ugh.
Well, we lost Ray in the return game. We picked up Gunnar Oslowski. The kid, he was a Pro Bowler for New England Patriots, not this past year, but the year before. So I like him in the wide receiver room as as the punt returner, kick returner. He'll probably be the 6th receiver, but his value is going to come with special teams. And then this guy Calvin Austin can be the 3rd, can be a substitute special teamer as far as returner. He has all the ability. I like him on the jet sweeps, the little quick wide receiver screens, get some blocking out in front of him with his speed. He can break some. We haven't had speed like this in a long time in our receiver room, not just pure blazing speed. Chase Claypool's a 4.4 guy. I think Deontay Johnson's 4.5. I think AB, when he was there at his best, was 4.5. I mean, but that doesn't speak to his football speed. I'm just saying just a burner, though. You know what I mean?
And I don't think Claypool gets to full speed nearly as quick as this kid does. This Austin kid is flying. So
I think you're right. We talked about Connor Hayward in the 6th, pick number 208, because we traded our 5th last year to move up and get Isaiah Loudermilk. So that's where our 5th round went last year for the draft last year. But Connor Hayward, I like the pick. I mean, he just has that, and the Steelers like pedigree. So we have 4 sets of brothers on the team now.
Yeah,
4 sets of brothers.
Unheard of.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll have 4 sets when the season starts, but we got 4 right now. But I love the Connor Hayward pick. I mean, the kid that plays for San Francisco, the fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, is that who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I like he's a Pro Bowl fullback, and everything he does, I think Cam Hayward is going to be able to do. Catch out the backfield, line up in the H-back position, be an inline tight end, not for a whole game, but when you need him to be the 3rd tight end, he can do that. He can line up at fullback, short yardage blocker, short yardage, we probably will always give it to Najee majority of the time, but he can slam it up in there. He's a big body that knows how to run the ball. So I really like the versatility and stuff that we got with Connor Hayward. Mark Robinson, real quick, inside linebacker. Ole Miss, used to be a running back, played at, I believe, Presbyterian, transferred to South Missouri State. And then, both those programs didn't play because of COVID. So he went to Ole Miss because he had a buddy there and walked on. He was on the scout team, put him on defense because he was a running back at his previous 2 stops. And they liked the way the kid flew to the ball and kind of could read where the running back was going and make laid the wood, make some solid tackles. So, we took him as a flyer. I think a good special teamer right away. We'll see what he does. Our middle linebacker room, we beefed it up with Miles Jack. I believe Devin Bush will come back from injury this year and be really good. Robert Spillane and Buddy Johnson. I like Buddy Johnson too, man. So, and we brought back Marcus Allen. So I don't know. This is gonna be a heavy competition in our linebacker room, inside linebacker room, come training camp. And then lastly, pick 241, Chris O'Dulicon. We already talked about him. So, no, the Steelers draft, I think the first 4 picks, they got a lot of needs. I mean, they filled a lot of needs with quarterback, 2 receivers, and defensive line depth and youth. So I like that. Hey, we gave Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, a lot of tools to work with, man. So hopefully this offense will get going. I believe in the defense. We signed after the draft, free agent signing. We brought in DeMonte KZ, was a safety in Dallas last year. He used to play for the Falcons. So, that safety room is going to be crazy too, man. We brought Edmonds back. We got Minka. We have Trey Norwood, the rookie from last year. We signed Carl Joseph. We got Miles Killebrew. And then we just brought KZ in. So I don't know. We obviously don't keep 6 safeties. I mean, it's a lot of good battles going on right there, man. So
yeah, to touch on what you said about Matt Canada too, because I've seen quite a few comments over here about using a fullback or using this or using that. I think your offense is going to evolve a lot too. It's not going to look like it has, the past 8 years of, Big Ben, great career, but his last 8 years, you were going to be in the shotgun.
Right, you're right.
In one back set. I mean, that was just it. That's what it was. So I think you're going to see some more flexibility, some more tricks there. I think Matt Canada, if you look at what he's done in the past, he likes doing that kind of stuff, those jet sweeps, running an H-back. So I think you're going to see more of that kind of stuff. I don't think you're going to see the same offense that you've seen in the past.
I agree with you. I'm willing to give Canada a chance. I think about the game where he was the coordinator at Pitt and they beat Clemson with Deshaun Watson and Clemson. I think they were number 1 that year. I mean, he called a heck of a game. If he can get back to any type of that, I think we'll be in a really good place. You know what I mean? Offensively, because we have a lot of good young players on the offensive line, skill positions, the quarterback now. I like where we're headed. Our defense is going to keep us in early so our offense gets up to speed, midway to that middle part of the year. So we'll see how that goes. But, man, we've been on here now. We're just about out of time. You got any parting shots, B-Dirt? Anything you want to say, man, before we get out of here?
My last thing, I just want to touch on 2 undrafted free agents. 1 offensive lineman from Ole Miss, the Bengals took, Ben Brown. He was supposed to be a drafted player. Everybody had him normally around round 5 or 6. I think he could be a win for us. And 2 is with a heavy heart. I say that the University of Michigan's John Ross went to the Ravens. Man, what are they doing over there?
John Ross, what position is he?
He was number 12 linebacker.
Okay, I remember him now. You said number 12, I know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody in the live chat. We kind of went long explaining all the draft picks and stuff, so we didn't get too many of the live chats as we would want to. But we'll be back next week. And thank you guys for joining us. And let's go Steelers. Peace.